Illinois heads to Indiana. This is one of the more intriguing week 4 matchups. Indiana is a 4-point favorite right now, and both teams are looking to make a run at the college football playoff. Indiana's looking to get back. Illinois is looking to make it this year. Now, Illinois has played really well so far. The offense is in good hands with Luke Altmyer. Hank Beatty has been a nice surprise at wide receiver, and the rushing attack has been steady when they needed it to. Caden Fegan, so far, knock on wood, has been healthy. That has been a big piece that I don't think a lot of people are talking about. He's a massive frame player who's going to be able to make big plays. And in clutch moments, they're going to give him the ball because of his size, his physicality. That's really where he shines, is in those tight situations. To be able to make those kinds of plays, that's where he'll really shine. It also balances out this offense. The offensive line in great hands. The defensive line, I think a lot of people are kind of overlooking this. Illinois' defensive line is a lot better than I think people realize. I think that they don't see that this team can be extremely disruptive. And it's not just because of Gabe Jacas. He is someone who's going to play in the NFL. 8 tackles, 4 tackles for loss, 3.5 sacks, 2 forced fumbles already. He is a one-man wrecking crew, but his defensive line teammates are also good. This is a group that is going to make Indiana's life a lot more difficult than I think people realize. And Illinois is a team that so far is just playing kind of steady. I don't think they have anybody that's a superstar by any means, but they've also not needed a superstar yet. This might be the first game where if you need to play consistently, you might need someone to step up. So far, Hank Beatty's been that guy offensively, and Yakas has been that guy on defense. They have guys that have stepped up. Now, is Hank Beatty a superstar? I don't think anybody would put those two together, but he has been reliable so far. And Altmyer has been solid, completing nearly 72% of his passes. He's been accurate. He's been calm. He's been poised. And if you look at the Duke game, that's probably the one measuring stick that we have that's realistic for Illinois. They stepped up in a big way. The defense made plays. The offense made even more plays when they needed to, and especially in clutch moments, especially down the stretch. This is a team that took care of business and made sure that they weren't going to leave anything up to be misinterpreted. They were going to take care of business. They are going to make plays. And if you're Illinois, you feel pretty good about where you sit right now. It's just that you run into an Indiana team that we're not really sure what to make of this team. Because when you look at who they've played so far, you had the first game against Old Dominion where you don't look great, but the game never really was in question. Colton Joseph was kind of like a one-man wrecking crew. That's one where you're not really sure what to take of it. And clearly Old Dominion is better than I think a lot of people expect, but you don't really know what to take of it. Then you beat up on Kennesaw State and Indiana State. Cool. What did we learn? Probably not a ton, right? Beating those types of teams isn't going to tell us how you're going to fare against Illinois, because none of those teams have a Gabe Jacas. None of them have certain players on this Illinois team. None of them have a defensive line like Illinois. None of them have an offensive line like Illinois. This is your first true big test for an Indiana team that surprised people last year and is looking to do it with an extra layer of difficulty in 2025. Now, the one thing that can be said is that you have an offense that appears to be almost better than it was last year. Now, losing one of your big time running backs is going to be a loss for sure. You're going to feel that quite a bit. But overall, I think that you're still in a good position. Lee Beebe is obviously a solid running back, but it's clear that Indiana has good depth there. Omar Cooper Jr. stepped up in a big way last week. He is someone that could play a big role because most of Illinois' attention probably is going to Elijah Surratt, but they know that Omar Cooper Jr. is also a dangerous player. And this passing attack is going to have their hands full with that Illinois secondary. Illinois' defensive backfield is very difficult to beat. They are very difficult to play against, and Indiana has the guys that could potentially make that happen. Everybody's eyes, though, are going to be on Fernando Mendoza. How does he handle the pressure of facing Illinois' defense? The internal clock has to be on point. You have to know that Gabe Jacas is coming to wreak havoc in this defense or this offense. Mendoza is really where you're going to decide, is this team going to be a contender? Can they handle this big time matchup? And so far, he looks really good. But again, who you play has a factor, it plays a part in our evaluation of this team. And Mendoza has played well. He appears to be an upgrade, which is hard to say against Curtis Rourke. He appears to be better than what they had last year, and this offense overall appears to be better. They're just going to face an Illinois defense that's going to give them an actual test for the first time in their season. For their defense, too, you're going to have to find ways to make Luke Altmyer's life miserable. You're going to have to find ways to wreak havoc. And Duke gave you a little bit of a blueprint a couple weeks ago. Duke was doing a lot of good things in the first half where Illinois' offense struggled. They were getting guys like Vincent Anthony Jr. in the backfield. They were wreaking havoc on an offense that did not look good right away. The thing is that they've figured out how to counter that kind of stuff. So if you are Indiana's defense, you have to find ways to switch up the looks. Anything that you've put on film so far, which honestly probably hasn't been that much, find a way to switch it up. Find a way to counter whatever Illinois has to counter that. This is going to be a chess match between both sets of offensive and defensive coordinators. And I think that's going to be a really fun thing to watch. And this is a matchup that's not getting a ton of love. This is a matchup that is flying under the radar in terms of entertainment because Illinois and Indiana aren't your traditional powerhouses. But I think this one is going to be really, really fun. Right now, I'm probably going to lean with Indiana. I do think that they're going to get the job done at home. Illinois is still a tough team. I think it's going to be a close game, but I think that the Hoosiers are going to come out on top.